Australians well familiar with his style of play. His most recent appearances for Australia were in the Atlanta Olympics. And Australia's 3 games there. And he's got a number of teammates that were there as well. And that's a fine ball out wide on left. The shot comes in just past the post, and Australia with the first meaningful attack of the game. And it was Aloisi who took the shot on the run first time. Well, John Aloisi left Australia when he was just 17 years of age to try his luck in Belgium. He was successful there and is now with Cremonese in Serie B. He's the first Australian player to score a goal in Serie A. But his side was relegated, now playing in the Italian second division, but we'll have to get acquainted with the likes of Aloisi, who we haven't seen for a number of years in Australia. Let's remember, it's just his first game for his country. Australia have made a good start. Forward down the right-hand side here. And Slater gets the cross in. No one in the centre that could really make any meaningful contact with the ball. And that's a bad foul there on one of the defenders. That's number 8, Shinovsky. And it was a late challenge by Corica.
Hold the line, squeeze him up, you can drop off when it's in the air.
In case you're wondering whose voice that was coming through, that was the Australian coach Terry Venables. The unmistakable accent. As we saw in the Four Nations tournament in January, he didn't take an awful lot of time to impart his influence on the 11 players. He's had less time to work with the overseas-based players. He's still hopeful of a good performance here. His main concern was with the technical ability of the Macedonia players, highly technical footballers. And coming forward here, looking dangerous. Still forward, it's a great tackle at the death. Horvath clears away long. But a good run through the centre from Christov. After the recent Four Nations tournament, Australia's rankings with FIFA jumped considerably. They jumped 17 places from 50th to 33rd, which is a magnificent performance. Macedonia are currently ranked 85th in the world. Robbie Slater, these days playing with Southampton in the Premier League. Now 32 years of age as Zelic goes down the line. Australia have 3 players based in Britain in this starting 11, but there are a couple more to follow shortly. George Kouchard is about to transfer from his Belgian club Royal Antwerp to Bradford City, which is Mark Schwartz's old club, of course. And also Tony Vidmar will join Glasgow Rangers at the end of the season as well. And an excellent move for a player who's in his second stint in Europe. It's well won in defence. Macedonia come out, the ball given straight to Zelic, perfectly positioned. Glides past one opponent. Here's Slater in some space down the right-hand side. Just clipped it over. Plenty of red shirts in the back, and at the far post it was Mark Viduka who was offside. Lewandowski for Macedonia. Here's for the goalkeeper, Salevski. One of the more experienced players in the side. Dancho Salevski, 29 years of age. There has been a dispute with the Macedonia ensemble. 5 of the most senior players that the coach Goko Hadziewski could call on have fallen out with the coach and are refusing to play for the side. It's a major blow for their World Cup hopes. They're currently sitting in 3rd place in Group 8, having played 5 games, and they've got 7 points. An 11-1 thrashing of Liechtenstein, their best result. Australia on the attack. Flip to the back post. Viduka is a natural target with his height and ability in the air, but that was just too high for Mark Viduka. Viduka made his debut for Australia back in 1994 against South Korea. He's recently been warming the bench for his club Croatia Zagreb. After a minor falling out with the coach, he hasn't started. So he'll work his way back into the side as Macedonia come forward. Long ball through the centre and go right through to Mark Bosnich. What a boost it is for the Australian players to have Bosnich in goal for them. A player who's had his own frustrations this season with Aston Villa with a couple of injuries. And that was just a hopeful ball into space, and Australia just showing signs of rustiness. Certainly the combination on the park will need to go through a familiarisation process. Vidmar down the line. Well, that's a foul. That should be in Australia's favour. Viduka was held back. Free kick taken quickly. Here's Zelic playing in the centre of midfield today. Zelic again. Viduka. Slater. All the way back there. Slater in very quickly in the tackle, but Macedonia come away, and that's a nice ball as they come down the left. Kowski's feeling Christov into the penalty area. Little ball to the near post, a good tackle in the end by Kulchar. Crucial one as well, and that was a great move by Macedonia. Christov with the little ball to the near post, and it was Stojkovski who continued his run, and he started the move as well. That looks like Mehmet Durakovic, who's down getting some treatment. He's the only non-European based player in the Australian squad. Plays for Selangor in Malaysia. Well, it's been a fairly tepid start to the match from both sides. Terry Venables just taking a chunk out of the fingernails. I'm just wondering how he's feeling after the 8 minutes or so that we've had in the game. Les Scheinflug just behind him. Venables wasn't happy with the original venue for the match. He does have a reputation of being a stickler for certain details, even when he was manager of England. The football authorities brushed up against his determination to have everything right on a couple of occasions, in particular the Tour of Asia when England played against China. And that's a great run from Gosev. He's got away from a couple. Australia with some defending to do. Corica with an unconvincing clearance. Still Macedonia coming forward. Now Durakovic with a very, very hasty clearance, which is a little uncharacteristic of the former South Melbourne player. It's a great turn. But again, Bosnich hasn't been tested in this match. The shot came in from Gosev. Well, the former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia have seen their side play 25 internationals since their conception back in 1994. They've won 9, drawn 6 and lost 10. 45 goals for, 35 against. So they're a new country in themselves as a football nation. In a certain sense, Australia are in a similar boat. It's the rare occurrences that the European-based players, or overseas-based players rather, get together. Australia are offside here. It's almost like conception for the Australian side as well. It was Aloisi who'd strayed just past the last defender down the left there. John Aloisi and Mark Viduka, the two strikers, both very big players, strong players, athletic players. Different styles, but hopefully they'll complement each other. As Zelic just pounced onto that loose ball, but there's a foul on the number 4, Markovski, by Aurelio Vidmar. Macedonia forward down the left. Stojkovski tackled very quickly there by some good work from Slater. Macedonia throw. Stojkovski will take it. He plays for Oviedo in Spain. One of a number of overseas-based players in this Macedonia lineup. Viduka can't keep it in. Throw into Macedonia. Romanovski. Surging through the centre there is Nikolovsky. Still going Nikolovsky. Australia can't get the ball off him. Slater down the line. No one there for Australia. Macedonia putting good pressure on the Australians when they do get possession. Australian players still struggling to keep the ball for an extended period of time. A slight advantage to the home side, certainly territorially, in the opening few minutes that we've had. To the 14th minute now. The good cross comes in. No one at the back post for Australia, and a loose man there. And it was the number 11, Stoyanovski. And more signs that the Australian defence is still trying to get to grips with a couple of things, what Terry Venables has asked of them. Also with the reacquaintance, if you like, of the teammates. Mark Bosnich will come in very handy there. He's a very vocal goalkeeper. Aloisi lays it off. Nice ball to Aurelio Vidmar. Oh, that's an unlucky ball there for Horvath, just trying to thread it through to Aloisi, I think it was, down the left. There's 3 Australians around the ball. And another surging run forward from the back from Nikolovsky. The home crowd appreciating the talent of the Macedonia sweeper. There's Goshev waiting for support. Decides to just get the cross in early, and another easy take from Bosnich. Bosnich, 25 years of age now, he does seem to have been on the scene an awfully long time. He made his debut for Australia probably at a later age than many would have suspected, back in 1993 against New Zealand. Of course, was in the last World Cup campaign. It seems such a long time ago that Australia were up against Argentina at the Sydney Football Stadium. Diego Maradona and co. Ned Zelic played that day, so did Aurelio Vidmar, who just did the little flick there. He scored for Australia from a cross by his brother Tony. Both still in the lineup today. Slater also there. As well as Mehmet Durakovic. Viduka comes short. Target roll today. Foul again by Australia on Stoyanovski. Into the penalty area for Macedonia. At least 6 or 7 Australians there. And plenty of height for Australia. An easy headed clearance from Horvath. Vidmar picks up the ball. Nice turn from Aloisi. Taking the ball and turning in one movement. Australia forward quickly down the left. Vidmar just giving the ball away as Australia were looking promising on that particular breakaway as they came forward. Vidmar again, starting to get more involved for the Australians. Waiting for movement there when it wasn't coming, and he was forced to go back. The pitch here is in fine condition. Pretty dry, the grass is cut nice and short. The bounce of the ball is very smooth indeed. Australia's throw taken by Tony Vidmar. Again, possession given away a little bit easily, but this time free kick also given away. Viduka with the foul. Neither side so far has managed to really penetrate the other with a good move. Australia's best moment of the match came when John Aloisi got free down the left-hand side and fired in a shot past the post. Zelic comes to close down. Macedonia go down the right now. The long shot comes in again. Loznica tested from long range. But so far all the attempts on goal have been straight at the Australian goalkeeper. As well as the squad of players that Terry Venables has assembled here in Skopje. Still Paul Ocon, Graham Arnold, Tony Popovic, Stan Lazaridis and Jason Van Blurk to come into recognition. All were unavailable for this particular match because of injuries. Well, Graham Arnold had personal reasons for pulling out of the squad. But Craig Moore's situation was a little unusual. He missed the plane from Glasgow to London. Well, he got to London, but he missed the connecting flight to Skopje, so he isn't here as he was expected to be. And there's a lot of suspicion that the fact that Rangers have a very, very big match against Dundee United and that the club, which is suffering from enormous injury problems, wouldn't release him, but that story may unfold at a later date as Vidmar tries to go through the centre, easily cut out by Markovski. Instructions from Terry Venables constantly coming from the bench for the Australian side to get up to the ball, to push forward as they pressure the opposition even though they haven't got the ball. Slater all the way back there, keeping the number 9 Christov on side. Aloisi. Possession given away. And then one back. In the story of the half really so far. Viduka, nice little shimmy to get away from his man. Just laying it back now. Viduka again. Corica, who's yet to really get involved in the game. Viduka stopped then before the whistle came. And it was a lovely ball forward from Tony Vidmar just to thread it through the gap. But he fouled his man in Jovanovski. Intercepted by Zelic, who continues his run forward. Here's Tony Vidmar. It's got his brother Aurelio inside. He's now waiting for some movement. Zelic comes short. Good run into the corner from John Aloisi. He's tracked by two men. And again, the ball given away just a little bit too easily from Australia. In a situation where they should be trying to maintain possession and stretch the Macedonian defence. Goshev pinned into the corner and Australia win the throw. Now this could be interesting. Tony Vidmar has got a long throw. The players make their way into the centre, recognising the fact that the Australians could be onto something here from the set piece. Won by the defence. Viduka was the target at the near post. Vidmar will get another shot at it. Plenty of height too in the Macedonia defence, and maybe Tony Vidmar decided to go short to Corica. Chips it in, straight at the goalkeeper. Easy save for Zalewski. But it's been a half in which Australia have had few moments in attack. Vardar Skopje are the most well-known side in the former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia, but they have been struggling in recent championship seasons. The champions for the past two seasons have been FC Šilac. Kulsha forward. Vidmar picks up the ball. Zelic in space. Now there's some pressure coming on the ball. He finds Corica. It's given away over the top. Chance here. Bosnic out all the way. Had to be outside the penalty area, in fact. And he's out of his goal as the long shot comes in. Mark Bosnic has been the more active of the two goalkeepers. And that's his first real serious save of the match, coming in the 24th minute. Nikolovski it was with the long-range effort, but at this stage Bosnic was back in his goal. But the more nervous moment for Australian supporters came a little bit earlier, where the goalkeeper had to come right out of his penalty area, and that's a bad ball, given away very cheaply by Durakovic. Christoph for Macedonia.
Up to the ball! Out to the ball!
Markovski, the captain. Vidmar pressurising, fouls his man there, and the two captains tangling. Markovski staying down. Vidmar goes over to just help him up. Get the feeling that Aurelio Vidmar thinks there's not an awful lot wrong with Markovski there, but he'll require some treatment. And a chance for Slater and Vidmar to confer, two of the older heads in this Australian side. Talking going on, as you can see there, with Slater turning to Corica. Vidmar, the captain, starting to assert some authority as well. And the stretch is going to come on for Rupcho Markovski, 29-year-old who plays here in Skopje for Vardar. Terry Venables in the centre, Les Scheinflug on the left. As we look at the screen, and Raul Blanco on the right. Macedonia sufficiently concerned for the coach to be off his bench, Roko Hadziewski. Australia sufficiently concerned to have 4 men in the wall. On the back heel, the shot comes in. Again, a trickle for Bosnic. Pressure on the ball coming in. Corica picks up a loose one. Horvat, good ball to Vidmar. Corica leaves it, Viduka takes it. This is better from Australia. Aurelio Vidmar, the movement is happening. Slater. Back to Vidmar. Support comes from Kushar. Corica's offside. But probably one of the more lively attacks of the first half from Australia there. Corica playing with Wolverhampton Wanderers in the First Division in England. Pressure here from Australia. Good pressure as well too. The ball was given away in the end. Australia win it back. Viduka touches it off to Aurelio Vidmar. Shot comes in on the volley. Good effort that from Vidmar. Ball heading like an arrow for the top left-hand corner of the goal. A bouncing ball just waiting to be hit. But he hit it beautifully. And Australia have a corner. And the first real testing attempt on goal from either side, and it came from Aurelio Vidmar. And Dancho Zalewski had to throw himself to the right to just tip that ball away. Corner to Australia. Plenty of yellow shirts in the centre. Free kick at the near post. Foul by Horvat. Australia getting into the match more and more now. Aloisi finds a bit of space, might try his luck here. Still Aloisi going forward. He ran into a brick wall in the sweeper, Nikolovsky. Slater trying to win the ball back and fouling his man in the process. Strojkovski not happy with the challenge from Robbie Slater there, but Slater is such a busy player. He can get back at you once he's been beaten. He's so quick. The ball held on to Kushar. Aloisi fouled. Pace of the game just seems to have picked up a bit in the last few minutes. Perhaps a sign of Australia's growing confidence. They can move the ball a little quicker now. Kushar down the line, Slater. Oh, that's a hopeful one for him. Just under half an hour gone here at the Gradski Stadium in Skopje. It's still Macedonia 0, Australia 0. Well placed in front of the defence was Kushar. Slater down the line. Vidmar on the end of the ball. Well, that was the intention anyway. Vidmar tangling there. Viduka helps him out. Corica, little ball over the top. Zelic tried to play it, and it's offside. The run from Corica, just a little bit too early. Australia's run of international results has been outstanding recently. In their last 10 games, they've won 7, drawn 1 and just lost 2. In the process, scoring 21 goals and conceding just 6. Many two matches in the run there that were of any meaning were the 6-0 and the 5-0 victories against Tahiti. As a result of that, Australia won the Oceania Cup final and will take part in this December's FIFA Intercontinental Cup in Saudi Arabia. All of the others were international friendlies. And surprisingly, across those 10 matches, Australia had 3 different coaches in charge. Eddie Thompson, Raul Blanco for the Tahiti matches, and Terry Venables, of course, for the Four Nations tournament in January. That's a foul short there by Christoph. Not a subtle one either from the Partizan player, Yogi Christoph. This is better from Australia. Well, it was for a moment anyway, but final pass from Aloisi wide on the left. Wasn't to the liking of Corica, who'd made a good run forward through the centre. And ball from Stojkovski, easy for Bosnic. Vidmar so willing to take the ball despite the fact that he's marked. Bosnic showing such confidence in his captain that he's prepared to throw it to him in that situation. And again the ball given away by Australia, by Corica. Stojkovski touching it inside to Ciric. That's great play again from Horvath, who's done that on a number of occasions already today. And Slater's making up ground down the right hand side. Couple in the centre for Australia. Fine ball from Aurelio Vidmar. Slater with some work to do as the space running out. Zelic swims one in. Here's Viduka. Australia offside. Not a happy decision for Tony Vidmar, who's complaining that he was right on the edge of the line of players, so he had perfect vision on whether he was just beyond the last man. Just a little difficult to tell from that angle because we couldn't see when the ball was played, but referee tonight, Slavko Radulovic, is fairly adamant with his decision. And Zelic tracks his man in Ciric. Been a number of minor fouls in this first half. Vidmar the culprit there, and he copped a kick for his trouble. And Macedonia have a chance now to see what they can do from the free kick. Kosev taking on Vidmar. Very tricky customer for Kosev. He's quick, he's skillful. It's taking a couple of Australian players to do something with him. Durakovic and Tony Vidmar, and they've given away the free kick. The Australian side just seeming a little bit frustrated with some of the decisions that are going against them for free kicks. Tony Vidmar can be nowhere near the required distance from a free kick, but seems to have got away with it. Here it comes on goal. Straight at the goalkeeper. But more signs that Macedonia can lose their markers in the Australian penalty area. And this ball now. That was what's a game called into action outside his penalty area. Decides not to take any chances and just puts the ball out. That play is applauded by Durakovic. That's the second time in the match that we've seen a ball over the top of the Australian defence require the final sweeper in Bosnic to come forward and clear the danger. Macedonia on the attack. Cleared by Vidmar. Picked up by Aurelia Vidmar. That's a great ball to Corica, almost without looking. Aurelia Vidmar. Steve Corica down the left. Supported quickly by Zelic. Goes past one. There's plenty of Australians in the centre. The ball across from Zelic. Didn't come early enough, but he wins it back in the tackle. And Macedonia were given a rude awakening there by the speed of that Australian attack. Great play by Aurelia Vidmar to find Corica. And Zelic joining in as well. There were 5 players in the Macedonia penalty area there wearing a yellow shirt. The final cross didn't come from Zelic. Around 8 minutes to go till the break here. It's still Macedonia 0, Australia 0 if you've just joined us. He's the coach of the Macedonian side, Roko Hadzievski. After seeing his side have the better of the opening 20 minutes or so, Australia have come more and more into the match. The more the half goes on, but Macedonia in the attack here. That was a push in the back clearly there. Shot came in the end from Christoph. Horvat. Here's Kulshar. Horvat again. Now some pressure coming from Macedonia. Vidmar always so willing to get involved. Durakovic playing on the left-hand side of the defence. Down the line to Viduka, but he won't keep it in. Surprise substitution here, and that is the reason why the captain Markovski is injured. Mitro Markovski will have to go off, and that is a major blow for a side that's already lacking its most experienced players. The captain's armband is exchanged. Switching play. Australia now seem to have the measure of the Macedonia side when they do get a possession there. Certainly not giving as much room to their opponents as there was early in the match. And, well, the flag only just went up there. Terry Venables is constantly calling to his side to move up and push up, but they pushed up just a little bit too quickly there, and just for a moment I thought Stoyanovski had got behind the defence and stayed on side, and a little bit of relief there, I'd say, for Mehmet Durakovic, who's on the ball now, because Stoyanovski is his man. Horvat playing that pass. Sharp. So it picks up this ball, gets past one, glides past another. Great play from Zelic. His trademark really is be the way he can take the ball past his man. It's so effortless. Viduka. Slater taking on his man. Can't get past him and he's forced back. Good defending there. Zelic picking up a ball. Corica. Unintentional back heel, but it came off to Viduka. Very tight defending by Macedonia. A lot of pressure on the ball. Viduka, surprisingly there, was just pushed off the ball. But that doesn't happen very often to Mark Viduka. Goalkeeper all the way out. Nice pass though, intended for the overlapping run from Tony Vidmar, and it's a throw into Australia. Now what can they come up with here? Will Tony Vidmar go for the long throw again? There's an awful lot of dual players in this Macedonia defence. Instead he goes short to Aurelio Vidmar. Got the cross in, but it was stifled somewhat by the defence. Still Australia in possession. Tony Vidmar. Durakovic. Back to Horvat. Here's Kulshar. Slater comes short. Macedonia making it very, very difficult for Australia to get any rhythm in their build-up, but at least Australia are now keeping the ball for a little bit longer than they have been in the match. No foul, despite the appeal from Aloisi. Australia's World Cup campaign begins properly on June the 11th when they take on Tonga for the first World Cup game. Slater wins a corner. Well, it's a goal kick. That's an amazing decision by that linesman. Well, it's very, very surprising there. And Slater was prepared to let the linesman know his feelings. Just looking at Australia's World Cup campaign again, they begin on June 11 with the match against Tonga. And they'll finish in early July with the match against New Zealand, we assume. As Corica comes through the centre, he's easily cut out on the edge of the penalty area. 2 matches against New Zealand expected to be in late June and early July. Assuming Australia can get past New Zealand, the match against the 4th best Asian side will take place in November, just prior to the Intercontinental Cup in Saudi Arabia in December. So it's an extremely busy schedule for Australia this year, as Macedonia are offside. Less than a minute to go in the first half here in Skopje. No time added on by the referee, Mr. Radulovic. It's been a first half with few real meaningful attempts on goal from either side, but Aurelio Vidmar provided Australia's best moment of the half with a stinging volley from outside the penalty area. And it was a great save by the goalkeeper Selevski to keep the scores level. Macedonia started the first half the stronger of the two. Australia came more and more into the fore as the half went on. And it's interesting to note there, Aurelio Vidmar just asking the referee a couple of things. I think Australia are a little frustrated with some of the decisions they've had in the first 45 minutes. But at half time, it's Macedonia 0, Australia 0.